Welcome to the Warren County Board of Supervisors meeting. Today's date is July 16th. I would invite all of you to stand with me and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Kim, will you do roll call, please?
Aye. Here.
Here.
Snell?
Here. The first item on the agenda is to deal with any agenda deletions. Are there any? Hearing none, we'll move on to the first item, which is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Snell?
Aye. Second item is the claims. Any questions or concerns about the claims? I see we're up to about 800,000 today. I did notice that in particular we were making some of those beginning of fiscal year appropriations to key agencies, one of those being the emergency management, which is a significant part of that 800,000.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the claims.
Yep. Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Snell?
Aye. Item number 3 is a public hearing for rezoning application for land A1 to M1 as submitted by D. Wright Construction. Miranda, are you going to help us through this one, please? Now, we are not in public hearing yet, so are you going to do some explanation first, or do you want us to go into public hearing on the item? And then
Want to go into public hearing, that's fine.
Do you have a motion to go into public hearing?
I'll make a motion to go into a public hearing for rezoning application for land from A1 Agricultural District to M1 Light Industrial District as submitted by D. Wright Construction.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Snell?
Aye. We are now in public hearing, so Miranda, if you'd help us through this, that'd be great.
Thank you. D. Wright Construction and Trent Thompson, who's the owner of 19461 Cleveland Place, Carlisle, is asking to rezone approximately 10.03 acres from A1 to M1 Light Industrial for a warehouse. On April 9th, 2024, a building permit came into our office from D. Wright Construction for an 8,320 square feet building. At that time, I called Dane Wright, who's the owner of Wright Construction, just asked some general questions about the building. He stated that Trent Thompson owns the Snap-on business, and he would like to build a warehouse to house his equipment or his trucks. He currently has 3 trucks and the supplies, and wanted to build this building for security purposes. At the time, we held a public hearing on June 17, 2024 with the Zoning Commission. We've had no written comments, concerns from the public at that time or after we sent out the public hearing notices for the meeting today. The recommendation from the Zoning Commission was a unanimous vote for all in favor of that rezoning application.
Okay. Any additional questions?
I have no questions.
Is there anybody else from the public that would like to come and speak on this? I'd accept a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the rezoning application submitted by D. Wright Construction.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Snell?
Aye. At this point then, do we need to move forward with a motion to actually, let's do a motion now to actually approve the rezoning application. And do we need to waive a second or third hearing?
If you would, please.
Okay. Would someone like to make that motion?
Sure. I would like to make a motion for rezoning the rezoning of land from A1 to M1 as submitted by D. Wright Construction and waive the second and third readings.
Is there a second?
Or is it
second.
three?
Roll call.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Snell.
Aye. Item number 4 is to consider application for road closure for the 2024 National Balloon Classic with possible action. Tim, are you going to help us through that one? Thank you.
We got our annual request to close the roads around the balloon field. This closure request is similar to last year with the same dust control areas and closures preventing people from going down 150th and Jersey Street, which, as you know, a couple years ago caused a lot of problems with dust. So our office supports this request and didn't have any issues with it last year, so we're hoping for another good year. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Any additional comment?
None for me.
Somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the road closure for the 2024 National Balloon Classic.
Second?
Roll call.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Snell.
Aye. Item number 5, consider approval of agreement between the county and the city of Indianola Hometown Pride with possible action. And this is, actually, we've gone through more than one board session on this now. This is the formal agreement which would apply to our art installations as agreed upon. Unless there's additional comment, I think we can probably move forward with approving this contract. Somebody like to make a motion to that effect?
Excellent.
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement between Warren County and the City of Indianola and Hometown Pride.
Second?
Roll call.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Snell.
Aye. And item number 6 is to consider application to use Warren County Justice Center grounds for the RAGBRAI with possible action.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So Amanda Zwanziger reached out to me last week, and I told her to go ahead and submit an application since we had time to get that in today. What they're asking is to use the concrete pad in front of the building, and while the building's going to be still open for business, a lot of stuff has been moved to Thursday so that there won't be that traffic that's normally there on Wednesday mornings. And so I just told her that I would come in and talk on her behalf. So what we're looking at doing is setting up on the sides of that pad to allow any foot traffic to get in and out of there. They had to make some accommodations for some ADA riders, and what we're gonna do is have them move a Simpson, I think she said it was gonna be a Simpson vendor tent over to our side so that they could move the ADA tent closer to Optime, and then they can use the Optime building for a cooling area. Oh, there's Amanda.
Are there any questions about this?
Is it your recommendation to approve this, Jamie?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I don't see any issues with this.
And as far as the business of the day, you've taken that into consideration, it
Yes.
sounds like. So.
Yes.
Do we have a motion to approve the application for use of the Warren County Justice Center grounds?
I'll make a motion to approve the application to use the Warren County Justice Center grounds for RAGBRAI.
Second?
Second. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Snell.
Aye. Next item would be budget reports. Megan,
Hello.
good morning.
Morning. So we have the budget reports for June, which is the last month of fiscal year '24. As you can see, there's nothing highlighted on the expenses. Nobody went over budget. The overall budget was at 84%. So our expenses look good for the fiscal year. Moving on to the revenues. Just have a couple to note. DCAT was at 50% of revenues, but if you look at their expenses were, I believe, at 47%. So the reduction in revenues matches the reduction of expenses because that's one that's fully reimbursed. And then our capital projects was low, but that's because we ended up receiving the Great Western Trail reimbursement into the conservation line items instead of into capital projects, which is fine. But that's why that looks like that. You'll see the conservation revenues are at 483%, so that balances that out. Overall, we're pretty much right on target of where we wanted to be at for our revenues for the fiscal year at 100.44% of our budgeted revenues. And then looking at our fund balances,
It's actually pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you,
This is very good budgeting.
whoever did that budget did a good job. It probably wasn't me, but that.
so yeah, we have 84% of our expenses, which obviously is less than 100% of our revenue. So yes, that is good. Looking at our fund balances though, we did have a reduction in our general basic of about $680,000. We did budget for some of that. Some of that is coming from a budget amendment. And then the other big one would be our rural basic, which we did budget for a large decrease in that fund. And you can see that did happen of about $1.1 million reduction in there. Otherwise, secondary roads, ARPA, those were planned for to go down. So that's as expected. And the capital projects for the secondary road shop, again, that was budgeted to be reduced, obviously, as we spend money on the project. So looking at our totals, if we look at it with the ARPA capital projects removed, so that very last line on here, we are down about 1.5 million overall, or about 7.6%. Again, a big part of that would be the budgeted reduction in the rural basic.
Looks actually really good, Megan, I think. One quick question. You said that, I wasn't quite tracking with you, on the Great Western Trail reimbursement, it didn't go into capital projects. Where did it go?
So it was budgeted to go in the general fund, so it went in the general fund. It just ended up going under the conservation budget instead of the capital projects budget. So it still ended up in the same fund.
Is it in their fund then now?
No, it's in general basic.
Okay.
Yep,
Perfect.
and as the year rolls over, that it doesn't like stay in conservation, it just stays in the general fund.
Perfect. Okay, excellent. I think these numbers look good.
All right, well, that's it.
Any additional questions or thoughts?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Megan.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 8, which is to receive and file reports from the recorder and the sheriff's quarterly billing report. Are there any questions about these reports? If not, I would entertain a motion to receive those and file.
I'll make a motion to receive and file the recorder and the sheriff's reports.
Second.
Roll call.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Snell.
Aye. And on to Supervisors Report. Would anybody like to provide a report here?
I'm gonna pass because I think we've got some public comment stuff coming.
Okay. I just have coordinating meetings with committee members and fire chiefs to discuss EMS in Warren County. Be taking place tomorrow. Speaking with various department heads with concerns and issues within their departments, and I'd like the board to consider a future board meeting to look at the pipeline survey ordinance.
To look at what, Crystal?
It's the pipeline survey ordinance.
Okay.
Oh,
It was in other counties where the pipeline is being implemented, put it that way. Eminent domain is a huge issue, and I think it's going to be a big issue coming up in the next months leading up to the election. So I just wanted the board to be aware of it and if they could look at that as a consideration.
I have nothing to report at this point. So I think unless there is something more that someone wants to add at this time from supervisors, we'll move into item number 10, which is public input. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per individual. The board will not take any action on the comments due to the requirements of the open meetings law, but may do so in the future. No public input will be allowed for any of today's agenda items. Is there anybody from the public that would like to step up and speak? And if you come forward, please state your name and your address for the record, please.
Good morning, Don Davis, 14715-63 Harrison Street, here in Indianola. It's been a while since I've been up here talking to you guys. It's been a year, I'll tell you that. One of the things that's striking me in our area that I'm sure you hear about this all the time are the conditions of our roads. You keep throwing rock upon rock and bad rock. And honestly, there is a white film of limestone dust or whatever that dust is all over everything. It can't be good for the crops. It can't be good to breathe. You know, here we are in the 21st century, and, you know, we boast that, I know when I ran in 2018, that Warren County had like 600 miles of secondary and gravel roads. Why can't we pave the roads that are being used a lot? I mean, we've got Jersey Avenue, we've got 150th, we've got 143rd, we've got our little street of Harrison. There's the back way into Carlisle. Paving those would, I think, increase health and safety 100-fold. And I just heard you didn't use the entire budget, so there's 16%. I don't know how much money that goes, but what I looked at is that it runs anywhere from $700,000 to $1 million a mile for the paving. So it's a matter of, can we budget it? Is it something you can do out of the general fund? Is it something you've got to do a special assessment for to, you know, make us pay a dime more in property taxes? But something needs to be done. We need to modernize these roads. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Anybody else that would like to speak? Again, state your name, come forward, and provide your address.
My name's Bill Bosch. I live at 7323 R57 Highway. Lindsay Bachman and Miranda Bailey have been flat out lying to me the last 6 months about the current zoning and building codes, what they actually are. There was never a moratorium that ever existed, only a temporary land use regulation that was for 90 days. Only between May 5th and August 5th, 2023, but they basically use this slide to excuse them to do whatever they wanted, and they did just that. They quoted new zoning and building requirements that not only didn't exist, they weren't even applied the same to everyone. I have supplied ample proof to this to all of you, and I believe that Lindsay Bachman and Miranda Bailey need to apologize to everyone that suffered from this abuse of power and beg them not to sue Warren County. Warren County zoning subdivision ordinance revisions were produced by them, finally got printed, but they have been enforcing them for over a year, and I would like to point out that they are not even finalized into law yet.
Sorry, could you repeat that last part?
Warren County zoning and subdivision ordinance revisions that were produced by them finally just got printed, but they have been enforcing them for over a year, and I would like to point out that they are not even finalized into law yet. This new summary is very hard to read and hard to understand, and also was never needed in the first place. The current building codes and zoning are clear and have been working great. It states on their front page, however, Warren County was in a unique position in which the zoning ordinance revision recommendations following their existing comprehensive plan was never adopted. What? They're printed on your website, they're very professional and comprehensive. Well, the new ones that you are proposing, warrencountyplan.com, if you want to laugh at something, look these up, and their zoning subdivision ordinance revisions look like something a grade school class put together. They even have the gall to actually cross paragraphs off of their document. Not very professional. I have been paying taxes this last quarter of a century on my property as a residential rate. Now when I'm planning on selling my property, I am told by the zoning department that it is A1 and not R1. And if I now sell my property which has 10 acres, I would have to make the current residence unlivable, even though I was told by Stoney Harris, the former zoning director, that I could build a house in the back. Whatever happened to being grandfathered in? I came to the Warren County Courthouse to get all the information they had on my property, and nowhere was it stated that it was A1. It was mentioned as residential. When I went to zoning for information, I did get interrupted. Can I just finish a little bit? Okay, thank you. When I went to zoning for information showing somewhere it was listed A1, and to see the proof of this moratorium, Miranda Bailey told me it would take a while, and when I got back, she doctored up a bacon photo where A1 was obviously added to my property, and this moratorium didn't exist. This is a typical Slick Willie move that should be addressed immediately by you and make sure this corruption doesn't happen in the future. Any questions? Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak today? Please come forward, state your name and your address.
Thank you for the thank you for the opportunity to address this. My name is Gerald B. Murphy, aka Jerry Murphy. Excuse me. I'm at 16713 Highway 92, Indianola, Iowa, and I'm addressing the property across the road from us at 16718 Highway 92, owned by Valentine Properties LLC. Excuse me. I have lived in the Warren County area for 25 years, and I've gotten to know a little bit about the code. The code does not allow the zoning permit to infringe on the value of adjacent property. It doesn't allow the zoning permit to infringe on the owner's right to enjoy the property. And that's what is the case in this present position of the 16718 property zoned M1. Before that, it was zoned A1 and then transferred, zoned C2R. And in the meeting to go to M1, in 2017, we found out in 2021 of the construction. I called the zoning commission and asked about that, and they said it was published. I said, I didn't get notice. They said it was published in the paper. I said, well, we out here depend on the notices. I have gotten several notices and have always attended the meetings, yay or nay. The notices set a precedence according to the court. What happened is that in the presentation to the board, it was presented as a food service. The testimony by Rick Valentine presented in his testimony food service. The M1 came out with no restriction. So my asking here today is that the board revisit that permit so that be amended to add the term food service restriction. In the minutes, it also was revealed that it was strange that a sunset was not added to the permit because no one was there to object. Well, I asked for a copy of my letter that they said we got, and none was provided to me. So I think nobody came because nobody got notice. So I would also ask that the board add to the permit a sunset provision. The third, was that some economic relief should be granted to the owner. But because our property has been damaged, I give evidence of that, is that before the M1 was approved and the large commercial buildings coming in, that we sold off lots for over $40,000 an acre. Since that M1 was put in and the heavy traffic, the trucks, the hazards, noise, dust, cars, trailers. We used to look at a beautiful countryside scenic view. Now we look at a large building in business. Our biggest concern is that if this M1 is not changed, that someone would take the property and put in something worse. Also, I would add to the board that the M1 bulk regulations have not been adhered to. One being the bulk regulation of distance to the property line of 100 feet. The building to the property line is only 53 feet. There was no construction review of the property as it was being built, and there's still no review of the property regulations being fulfilled. Thank you, and I appreciate the recommendation to go to the board with this recommendation. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to come and address please state your name and your address.
Ann Githens, 8966 143rd Avenue, Indianola, Iowa. I'm just have a crazy question on why when we had a tornado on May 24th, there was no FEMA and no response from the county.
I don't have a good answer. I don't know. We'd have to go and research what your concern is and what happened, because we did approve a disaster declaration request.
Okay.
We did, as a board, specifically.
Has it been approved or denied?
I do not know.
No one seems to know.
I think it was approved, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
we can look that up to verify,
Yeah.
because Troy came in and made the presentation.
Yeah, sure.
Then why was there no notice to the people who had the damages?
Back to,
I'm not sure, Kim?
we'd have to go back to emergency management and see who made applications, and probably
Okay.
talk to Miranda.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Hearing none, seeing none, the next meeting date will be August 6th, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. We will have a work session following this meeting shortly. Can I have a motion for adjournment?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second?
Roll call.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Snell?
Aye. Motion adjourned.